All right, in today's video, I thought I would just jump on here and see what happens. And because the last few videos, like lately, I've been kind of trying to have a little bit more of like some ideas and like look at some things before I actually sit down and do the video. And I feel like sometimes when I do that, like with the structure, I feel like it doesn't flow as good because I'm also trying to read and think as I do stuff. And I thought today, after I just got done with my meditation, my visualization, and I thought I'd get on here and just kind of like see what happens and see what comes out because I feel like in life it's good to have structure, it's good to have like rules and all that stuff, but at the same time, we also have to learn how to improvise in the moment and get into the moment. Because I remember a lot of the times in the past, I was always afraid of what I was going to say and not having something to say. So I would never get up in front of the camera or go on stage and talk in front of people, and because I was afraid, like the fear would always be there. And now I'm learning that you just got to get into those moments and see what happens. Because I would go over all the scenarios in my head, like what would happen if I got up here and froze, or what if I didn't have anything to offer. Like all those things would be going through my mind, so I wouldn't do anything. So like the fear would stop me, and all that, and with anything you're doing that's different. So and something you're not used to doing. Like when we do things for the first times, it's always a challenge. It's always something new. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are some people that are just naturals at some stuff. I believe that it could be from a like leftover from a past life. Now, again, there's no way to prove that, obviously, because if we do have past lives, which I do believe we do, we don't remember them in this one. I think we have glimpses of them. That's why I feel like there has to be something more than just this, because there's too many things that seem familiar, or too many of these child prodigies that just come in and can play the piano or whatever at like 4 years old or something. Maybe not that young, but you know what I mean. And so I feel like there has to be remnants. And I also feel like sometimes when you're afraid of something, like maybe that's how you died in a past life, so you're afraid of it because of it. Or if you just like don't like somebody for no reason, it's because in a past life they did something wrong to you. And again, so I kind of believe in all that. So and so maybe that's where some of the fears come from. But anyway, so but the one thing I was thinking about when I was done at my end of my meditation was that we have to get over that fear. We have to go through it no matter what, and understand that it's just part of the process, and do it no matter what. And I was also thinking that you can't, like, to become something new or do something different, you can't hold on to the things that stopped you in the past. You can't. You got to step up into a new person. You have to take responsibility for your actions in the past, learn from them, and learn how to do something different. So for me, it's just been learning how to get on here, learning how to be comfortable in the moment. uh, the meditation is like, I feel like it just puts me in a different like state, like a different like wavelength. Like right now, I feel really like just energized and centered, and because that's what the meditation was talking about, was like we have to be let go of our old selves if we want to become something new. And I find myself doing that. Like I am, in some ways I'm growing and I'm getting better, and in other ways I'm still holding on to some of the things that don't serve me anymore. And because it's uncomfortable, because it's served me up to this point. So anything in our lives that we feel comfortable with, a job, uh, a certain pattern, an emotional pattern, like anything that we've done forever, we get comfortable doing it, so it gets ingrained. And that's the thing, is that I keep forgetting that it's going to be uncomfortable sometimes when you step into your power, or you step into doing something that people aren't used to you doing, because it makes them feel uncomfortable too, and it makes you feel uncomfortable. So if you're going to do certain things, when somebody gets used to you behaving in a certain way or you doing certain things, they get used to it too. So when you start to do stuff that doesn't like mirror that anymore, that there's going to be some pushback there too. But if you have to do what's best for you, no matter what that is. And I don't mean that in a selfish way. I mean, kinda. But if you can't become the best person or the best version of yourself, then how are you going to be, the most productive or the happiest? And that's another idea too, like the happiest. And like when I was talking about the consuming and the creating, that's the thing, is that I feel like I'm the most happiest when I'm creating something. And again, like I was saying, I like the consuming, I like to collect stuff, and I love all that stuff, and I appreciate other people's effort and energy and whatever it is that they've done to create that for me. I love that. But it's just at the end of the day, you got to have that balance. But and Elmer was also talking like it sometimes, but the outside world, the media and all that is all just consuming. They want you to consume this, take this drug, eat this food, buy this product. You need this to be happy. Like there's so many outside sources that tell us. And again, if it is something like the Funko Pops, like I really like those. That's understandable, but don't buy stuff just because you think it's going to make you feel a certain way because you have it. Because it seems like when we buy stuff, like the initial thing is happiness, but then the happiness kind of goes away unless you buy something else. Unless you, and I feel like that's where the true happiness comes from creating, because that's coming from with you and that's coming from without. So I feel like you need to have that balance of the outside happiness, the outside consumption, and the inside creativity. So that way you get both. So for me, it's like, I get on here and do a video before I go to work. Work goes by so much easier because I already have that feeling of accomplishment that I got on here and I did something. And I feel like, and then I'm hoping that it's having impact on you guys, that you're at least getting something from these things. Not everything I say is for everybody. Not everybody's going to resonate with everything that I say, but I hope that some of the stuff that that comes out, it makes you think a little different. It makes you happier, or just makes you think. Because again, you know that's the way it goes. But that's what he was saying with consuming. We consume so much and it puts us to sleep because we're always focused on what's going on out here, and it just kind of makes us lazy. Where creativity, we have to put our own energy, our own focus, and our own thing into it. And I like to create my own process by doing the meditations and kind of reading and starting to watch videos, and then it kind of sparks that creativity, gets that juices flowing, and then I get in here on the moment and then just let it go. And two, it's like, and I had a process when I played softball. Like I would do 15 minutes of visualization, light yoga and stretching, and then yeah, I think that, yeah. So it was about a half hour thing, and before every game, and then just in between every pitches and then every at bats, I would just close my eyes and relax, focus, and hit or be and field. Like you gotta like always keep that mental focus in that in whatever it is that you're doing. And even like I think that's good in life too. Like I was saying the other day to someone, like I did all this stuff for softball, and it made me become a better player the more that I did it. And but I was like, if it worked for softball, it can work for anything. If you keep seeing yourself as that person, keep visualizing yourself as that person. Or if you're stressed out during the day, I remember I read The Power of Now, or well, Eckhart Tolle wrote The Power of Now and A New Earth, the two different books. And I think it was A New Earth. He said like every at the top of every hour, he started to just close his eyes and take two deep breaths, and then focus and be in that moment, and then do it again the next hour, and then just do it constantly throughout the day. Keep that focus and keep that relaxation, because again, they always tell us, oh, if you talk to yourself, you're crazy. No, the people that say crazy things to themselves are the ones that are crazy. Talking to ourselves, we have that split, that subject object split within us, the devil and angel, the I and me. There's two separate things living inside of us. They just never told us. And when we talk to it and say, when I close my eyes and tell myself when I'm getting in that batter's box, relax, focus, and hit, and I say it to myself, and then I step in, it's me and the pitcher. And it focuses me, it brings me in. Now, does it work 100% of the time? No, nothing's 100% of the time. But when you're having a stressful day or a stressful moment, maybe take that relaxation, take that step back to kind of be with yourself. We all have it inside of us, man. We all have a spirit. We all have a soul. We all have that energy on the inside, but we're focused too much on the outside. That everything on the outside is supposed to bring us happy. Find happiness on the inside with who you are, your spirit, your soul, your excitement, your passions, all those things, and then bring them to the outside world. That's what makes you truly happy. And then when you have that happiness, then you can use that whatever you generate from that happiness to consume some stuff. So it's all about the balance in life. And but they always try to teach us to be one side or the other. You know, it's just the way of the world right now. It's like you're either with us or against us, and it's like, come on now, why can't we meet in the middle somewhere and talk about things and like, kind of, we're all human beings at the end of the day. Just doing the best we can. That's all we have ever been. It's like, come on, man, we're all on this earth together. We're all in this world together. We're all in this dimension together. Whatever you want it to whatever you want to call it. But why don't we just kind of realize that at the end of the day, we're all human, and kind of help each other and learn from each other, and let the ego go, and focus more on spirit, live in the moment, be let go of stuff. And I'm guilty of it too, so I'm kind of talking to myself too at this point. But so again, none of us are perfect, but we can strive to be better. We can strive to be, more nice to each other, or at least, not. It's like everybody's out to get each other. Like we're in, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean it kind of like the competition that we're always have inside of us, is that you have to be better than the next person. You have to, how do we win the game? How do we, beat the other team in a submission? How do we win? How do we be victorious? How do we stand over that person? And it's like, you know what? I look at it as, how do you become the best version of yourself? How do you become the best player, the best wife, the best husband, the best father, the best daughter, the best whatever it is that you like to do, the best actor, the best talker, the best whatever, you know, and focus on that, becoming the best version of yourself, the best thing that you can be, and then see where you fit in. Like I look at it as, and I always use softball as the example. I looked at trying to become the best player that I could and do the most I could for my team, and see what happens. And then if you do that, if you can get everybody on the same page doing the best that they can over and over and over again, you're going to win. But when you focus on your, like, how are we going to win? I don't know. We don't always know that. I mean, yes, there's strategies. Yes, there's things we can try to accomplish. But at the end of the day, if we can work on ourselves to become the best version of us and focus on what it is that I can bring to this world, how can I behave better? How can I act better? How can I be kind? How can we like talk this out, and focus on those things and solutions instead of the problems? Like, what can we do to make things different, make things better? There's always going to be problems, and you know what? We're not going to solve all the problems. They're always going to exist. But I guess maybe if we can start to strive to work, and more people can start to strive to do things like that, then maybe we will get to that point. It's like the 100th monkey thing, where I don't know if how many of you heard that there was a study done where uh, there was like 100 monkeys on one island, or 100 monkeys on another, and like uh, they were hungry, and they didn't like the salt on the potatoes, and then like the one monkey realized, oh, you wash it off in the water, and then another one, and then another one, and then another one, and then when the 100th monkey washed off the potato, all the monkeys on the other island did it too. It was like that was the threshold that needed to be reached was, and then the energy and the information and the idea just flowed to the other island, and they all figured it out at once. And it's like it's just kind of crazy to think the more people that we can get to do these things, to focus on themselves, to become the best versions of themselves, then maybe it'll just kind of start to flow through the rest of the world. Well, hopefully that's the theory, so that would be nice. But anyway, so yeah, I guess that's just my message for the day is if you want to go somewhere else, you got to let go of the things that are keeping you from going there. And you gotta, don't focus on being in competition with anybody else but the person you were yesterday. Dean's really good at saying this, and it made me think too. It changed my life when I heard him say that. Don't focus on being better than anybody else than the person you were the day before. And do that every single day. Try to just get a little bit better. And over time, that will add up and add up and add up. And the more people we can get doing that, the more people that will be kind to each other and nice to each other and maybe even start to help each other get better. That's why I make these videos. I'm trying to help people realize that there is more. There is a different way. There is maybe a better way. I don't know, that's your decision to define what your best way is, because I don't know. This is my best way that I'm trying to do. So I encourage everybody else to try to do the same stuff. So that's all I am. No judgment here. All I'm ever trying to do is just lead people in the right direction. You know, you got to do what you got to do regardless. I don't know where you are in your development and your growth, but if something resonates with you, then I hope it does, and I hope it makes people realize that we can all be better if we want to, and we can all do it from within. So, like and subscribe, comment, do whatever. Like I said, I'm just trying to get more people to see this because I believe that that's where we're at in the society right now, and energy that we really need to focus on different things and better things, and more towards unity and coherence, and agreeing to disagree. I can still be your friend. I don't have to be your enemy. We can still have a conversation even if we don't agree in the end. And there are sometimes there just are disagreements. So, but anyway, just yeah, that's my message for the day, and I love you guys, and see you in the next one.